Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into this really cool idea called maker geography. It's all about understanding your world by connecting the dots between personal experiences, your community, and even technology. We're going to see how one geographer mapped out a whole decade of his life in a small rural valley.
So our journey is taking us to the Annapolis Valley in Nova Scotia. We're basically piecing together a story of place, community, and tech, all from the personal blog of a local geographer. We get to see how more than 10 years of his observations really reveal these deep connections inside this pretty unique rural landscape.
And everything really kicks off with this core idea from the author himself. The idea that our lives are just fundamentally tangled up with the landscapes we live in. It's not just some pretty backdrop, it's the very fabric of who we are and what we do.
To really get this connection between life and landscape, we have to start on the ground. So let's get our boots dirty, so to speak, and see the Annapolis Valley right through the author's own eyes.
This whole story is really built on these small, personal moments, just like this one. A simple snowshoe trip along the river turns into this big moment of discovery. Seeing a familiar home from a totally new angle, tucked away behind these big red oaks. It's that physical, almost sensory connection to the land that really becomes the foundation for everything else. Okay, so from that personal connection to the land, let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's see how that extends to the human network, what you might call the very heartbeat of the community. And the author shows us that the real fabric of this community, well, it's woven together in places like the Granville Ferry Hall or the Chorus Center at the local college, and of course, cafes like the Green Elephant. These aren't just buildings. They're the real connection points for the whole human network. In this quote, wow, it just perfectly nails a key insight he got from a workshop about avoiding online scams. In a world that can feel so digitally isolated, he figures out that the best defense isn't just better tech skills. It's a stronger, more connected community. Simple as that.
But it's not just about nature and community gatherings. There's also this powerful institutional history here, and it's all centered around a place called COGS, which is a huge deal for geomatics in Canada. So this place, the Center of Geographic Sciences, or COGS, it's like this thread that runs through his entire career. It goes back decades, from getting hired to teach programming way back in the 80s to looking back on his writing in 2025. And then, in 2026, he's still plugged in, attending their latest industry expo.
And this is where things get really interesting. You have this long history with super high-level technology, and it creates this fascinating clash with the simple, day-to-day reality of rural life. It's what geographers call ground truthing.
Okay, check this out, because this is the kind of thing I find so fascinating. One day, our author is dealing with a super tangible local task, just getting a watch battery replaced. The very next, he's attending a virtual keynote on this huge abstract concept of geospatial AI. That right there, that's the two-sided reality of modern rural life.
So he's wrestling with these massive ideas like geospatial AI, which is this cutting-edge field they're working on right there at COGS. It's all about using machine learning to create these incredibly powerful new ways of seeing and understanding the very same landscape he spent a lifetime walking through. So you have to be wondering, how in the world do you connect all these different dots? You've got the personal snowshoe trips, the community cafes, the legacy of COGS, and the wild frontier of AI. How do you bring that all together? And that's the exact problem he was facing, right? He had over a decade of blog posts just lined up chronologically, but he knew there had to be a deeper story in there somewhere if he was going to turn it into a book. So what does he do? In a move that is just so perfect for this whole story, he decides to try something wild. He fed over 10 years of his own writing, all about place and community, to an AI, just to see what kind of patterns it would find. And get this, here's what the AI spit back out. This list of core themes, from the COGS legacy we just talked about to things like the creative rural economy. It's incredible. Technology basically handed him a brand new map to understand his own life's work, and it showed him all the hidden connections he'd been looking for. And this all leads to the big idea, the main takeaway: maker geography. See, it's not about just passively looking at a place. It's about actively making sense of it. It's about using every single tool you have, from a simple walk to complex data analysis, to build your own deep, personal, multi-layered understanding of your landscape. So this really leaves us with a final thought for you. Our author used snowshoes, conversations in cafes, and even artificial intelligence to map his world. So the question is, how are you mapping yours? What tools, from a simple conversation to your smartphone, could you use to connect the dots in your own landscape?